How team-up power-ups change the game for Marvel Rivals in a couple of ways. 1. Passives. Characters with complementary lore or powers or whatever can bless their teammates and give them a stat boost or even crazier enhancements. An example would be Venom getting an extra 100 health when teamed up with Penny Parker or Spider-Man. It's typically done so that everyone in the team-up relationship directly gets something positive out of it, but there are some crazy exceptions. Hulk with Doctor Strange or Iron Man gets a passive gamma boost to a few of their abilities. Kind of an interesting passive enhancement that powers up their moves directly rather than a stat change. Hela, if teamed up with Loki or Thor, will resurrect them if they're dead or give them bonus health if they're alive whenever she gets a final kill. Technically still a passive, but a lot more crazy and cool than a simple stat enhancement. Hawkeye and Black Widow team up lets Black Widow see/use Hawkeye's ultimates too. Ultimate sharing, that's a cool passive. Adam Warlock and the Guardians, except for Groot, get a free passive revive every life just like Warlock himself. I'm excited to see what other cool exceptions they add in the future, but I will admit that the Hela one is the craziest of the passives in my opinion. 2. Active abilities. And characters with these kind of team-ups get an additional button to press that will activate an ability. A few examples would be Luna Snow and Namor/Jeff, Scarlet Witch and Magneto, Spider-Man and Penny Parker's end of the Venom-based move, though it's important to note that usually the lender of these powers gets the stat passive boost in trade like Venom, or where he gets some extra health. This is, I would say, the most common power-up type. I'm no developer, but it seems like it'd be easier to write in the game, and it gives the developers the most freedom in deciding how the powered-up hero can use their new ability. I'm a layman, though, so I don't know the developing side of things. It makes sense to me logically, if that makes sense. Number 3, I don't know how to describe this. I didn't look this up. This is all off the dome piece, even if it's still scripted. But for the sake of this TikTok, I'm going to refer to this third one as the double opt-in. The only example is Hulk throwing Wolverine. The double opt-in aspect makes total sense in this capacity because, Wolverine has to want to be thrown and Hulk has to want to pick him up and aim him and throw him, but I think this is the coolest one in terms of potential. This would be the way in which we could have moments like Iron Man reflecting his beam off of Cap's shield for a kill. That is the only outside-the-game idea that I can think of, which I think speaks more to my lack of creativity, but I'm so hyped for the prospect of more of these kinds of team-ups in the game. The coordination and player sync-up makes it a lot harder, but that much more rewarding. I bet you didn't know there would be a fourth one. You're welcome to call me crazy in the comments. 4. Battlefield dynamics. This might come across as controversial, but I personally categorize Doctor Strange's portals as the only unofficial team-up power move whatever. Not only can ults and teammates interact with it in cool ways, but the way it completely changes up battlefield dynamics affects way more than just the user's teammates. Powers that alter the composition of the map itself that anyone on the map can use is so cool, and outside of coordinated intentional efforts, it can kind of be neutral when it comes to which team gets legitimately helped by it, especially since only Doctor Strange knows exactly how/where the portals go since he's the one that placed it. Realistically, it could just confuse teammates and enemies alike in a fun way. I say could because Doctor Strange's move not only doesn't last too long, which makes it at times feel like it's a one-way portal, but the cooldown is 180 seconds. Personally, I would have never had it go above 100. I would have put it at 90, but that's because I'm crazy and don't consider his portals overpowered. If you want to balance it by removing the abilities for like ults to pass through it, like the Iron Mans or whatever, I'm totally okay with that. I just love how it changes the battlefield up for the duration that it's up. Plus, that shit feels like it's a miracle of coding. I don't know how that shit's even possible. I loved it. All of these abilities, but specifically the battlefield dynamics there at the end, give Marvel Rivals its own uniqueness. It is what separates it from everything else, including Overwatch, Valorant, whatever. And I think that the developers and the community ought to both embrace that difference and see where it takes us, build on it, and get creative with it. I'm sure that they're already cooking. Not to I've mentioned the developers. I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure they're cooking. But from my perspective, we ought to move into that direction more. Anyways, let me know which team-ups are your favorite in the comments below, and let me know if I'm crazy for my last hot take. I think I'm alone in that view.